Hi guys, and welcome to The Colorful Gardener. My name is Josh, and today I want to talk to you about my 5 favorite perennials in my garden. If you're new here, go ahead and consider subscribing and liking this video. Alright guys, so in my garden, I absolutely love perennials, and I grow many types of perennials in my southern garden. And I think perennials are, well, I know perennials are my favorite plants to grow in my garden. What I wanted to do was I wanted to show you my top 5 favorite perennials to use in my garden. So I took some time to make this list of my top 5 favorite perennials because these perennials I want to share with you have to be really standouts in my garden. They have to provide loads of color throughout the year. They have to deal with my heat and humidity. They have to be able to come back every year. There's no point in buying the same plant over and over. I'm not gonna invest that kind of money into a plant. If it's not doing well in my garden, it's time to move on to a different plant. You know, that's how I've become a better gardener, by letting go of certain plants that just don't do well in my garden and keeping the ones that have repeatedly done well in my garden year after year. Okay guys, before we start this countdown, let me go over what a perennial is. A perennial is a plant that has non-woody stems and dies back to the ground every winter and comes back in the springtime with a new flush of growth. So I've chosen 5 perennials, and let's go ahead and go outside. I'm gonna show you the number 5.
Okay guys, so I am in my jungle garden right now, and I'm talking about plant number 5, and that is Pennisetum Princess Caroline. And it's this beautiful grass standing here in front of me, and it comes up to about my chest area. It's only August, so I'm thinking it's gonna get a little bit taller. But I love this plant. I've been growing this plant for about 3 years now, and I love the beautiful foliage. It's a wonderful plant for a tropical garden. It does really well in hot and dry areas. There's pros and cons. The pros are that it's super drought tolerant. It has wonderful foliage color. You don't really have to do any treatment with it. It's super easy to grow. The cons is that it's only hardy to zone 8A. Please consider Pennisetum Princess Caroline if you have a dry garden. This is a wonderful addition to any garden. Okay guys, so we are talking about plant number 4, and this is Salvia Gauranitca black and blue. It has this beautiful dark blue flower, and then the calyxes are black. So what an interesting color to have in any garden. This plant's hardiness zone is 7 through 10. It does get about, so it comes up to my chest, so right about here. So I'm gonna say about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, and it stays about 3 feet wide. It's kind of why it's low on the list, because it's not very cold hardy for people in the northern parts of the country. But if you live in the southern parts, it's a great plant for pollinators and especially hummingbirds. This has been my top plant that the hummingbirds keep coming back to, actually more than my cannas. It is very common. I do see this, I think this is the most common plant I have on my list. I see it in gardens or in home gardens, but actually, even though I say it's common, I actually don't see enough of it in front gardens. This is such a wonderful pollen source, nectar source for so many animals, and people just don't grow enough of it. And it's so interesting, and I have it in my jungle garden. I think the bright blue flowers is such a great match with all these other bright flowers and foliage. So behind it I have this beautiful yellow helenium that pairs well with this blue. And then also I have a rose called Rose Rio Samba that is blooming right now, and it goes so well with this blue. The oranges and the yellows pair so beautifully with this dark black calyx and these dark blue flowers. The 2nd year of growth, and it's done so well. I plan on keeping this in my jungle garden. If you're looking for a really sturdy salvia or a perennial to grow, think about salvia black and blue. Okay guys, so this is my number 3 pick, Caryopteris Snow Fairy. And this is a beautiful herbaceous perennial, hardy to zone 6 through 9. And I love the foliage on this. It has wonderful variegated foliage. And as you can see, in late summer to early fall, it is covered in these beautiful lavender flowers. And the pollinators absolutely love these plants. For a variegated plant, it does very well in full sun here in the south. It's done really well in our dry, humid conditions we have. It has been a real stunner of a plant. It's deer resistant, has a funky smell if you rub on the leaves, so deer are not crazy about this plant. I plan on putting more of these in my garden, and this is my number 3 pick. So this is my number 2 pick. This is Kalimeris Hortsensis, and it's a beautiful blooming white flowering perennial. And I have been growing this for 2 years now, and I absolutely love this plant. It has beautiful white daisy flowers. It's been blooming for 2 months. It's the beginning of September, and it's been blooming since July, June. It's just been blooming nonstop, super drought tolerant. It does well in the front of the border, so you can see it. It's clumping. It will send out tiny roots out and begin to make itself larger, but it's not aggressive at all. Very easy. I actually want more of it in my garden because it is such a floriferous bloomer. I picked this up at a nursery in Charlotte a couple years ago, and I have fallen in love with it. This has been such an easy plant to grow, very cold tolerant. This hardiness is zoned through 4 through 9. Does well with the humidity and heat. I've never noticed it droop. So it's a trooper of a plant, a great color to use in a pastel or in the front of the border. It gets about 2 feet tall, so up to my knee, and then it spreads as far as you want it to go. It can go about 3 feet, it can just stay as 1. This is like 1 year of growth, and this is about 1 foot in length, but a beautiful plant to put in any southern garden. Okay guys, so this is my favorite top perennial for the southern garden, and it's called HELIOPSIS false sunflower, also called oxeye daisy. And this plant has been blooming non-stop since the ending of May all the way to now, which is the beginning of September, 4 months. And believe it or not, it's actually a native to the southeastern part of the US, and it is a beautiful plant. It's wonderful yellow. If you're looking for a perennial that's adds color to your garden, think about the HELIOPSIS. I have been growing it for 3 years now, but this is my favorite perennial in my herbaceous border because it's so easy to grow. Doesn't need any care, just cut it back in the fall time. I don't have to water it. I've got a couple of these in my herbaceous border because it does so well. And it's a really underused perennial, which is really sad. There's other varieties too of this. There is Summer Nights, which I had in another garden tour video. This is just the basic one. There's a double version of it called Summer Days, HELIOPSIS Summer Days. There's shorter ones that are variegated. There's just shorter ones that are plain. There's another one called Burning Hearts, which has purple foliage and then a bright red center of the flower. But I absolutely love this perennial. It is so beautiful and such an easy plant. And it's now going over, as you can see. You could probably start this from seed, but the best way to propagate it is through division. Again, super easy plant. This is my #1 plant for the southern garden. Super easy. If you're looking for perennials to try out HELIOPSIS false sunflower.
Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video on my top 5 favorite perennials. Truly, these are my favorite perennials in my garden, at least in this year of 2018. Who knows what 2019 is going to bring. Might find a better perennial, and I'll let you guys know about that. But these plants have really done well in my garden. They can deal with heat, they can deal with humidity, they can deal with drought. They repeat bloom throughout the year. They really are my favorite plants in my garden. I want to share that with you guys because especially new gardeners they're not really sure what plants to choose. These are stupendous plants to start out with. They provide lots of color, super hardy if at least the top 3 are, and they're just going to be reliably good growers for you. I have a question for you. So what is your favorite perennial in your garden? I'd love to know. I've given you my top 5 favorite. Give me your top 5 favorite. I'm always looking for new perennials to try out in my garden. I want to make sure I'm growing the best ones. So if you guys have a real standout perennial in your garden, let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this informative video on at least my top 5 favorite perennials in my garden. If you're new here, go ahead and consider subscribing and liking this video. My name is Josh, and you've been watching The Colorful Gardener. I'll see you guys in the next couple of videos.